sometimes things happen, sometimes conversations happen, sometimes frustrations happen. And at the end of the day, they need to know that they have a safe and open space to be able to be, candid and to be able to say what they need as well. So.
Welcome to Beyond the Ping Pong Table, the podcast where we dive into the heart of innovative workplace cultures that truly put people first. Today, we're joined by a Bay Area native whose journey is as diverse as it is inspiring. From his early days immersed in the world of music, Adam's creative endeavors led him on a global tour as a professional musician, songwriter, and producer for nearly 2 decades. But his artistic journey didn't stop there. It evolved into a deep passion for photography, cultivated through experiences with top fashion and editorial photographers. Adam's expertise expanded into the tech and entertainment industries, where he built global online communities, collaborated with leading brands and artists, and developed his leadership skills. Today, he stands at the forefront of real estate media, leading a team of 60 creatives and producing some of the industry's most beautiful and impactful content. Join us as we explore Adam's path and the lessons he's learned about nurturing a people-first culture in the workplace. Welcome, Adam Brioza.
Thanks for having me. Man, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was awesome.
Well, and I do know Adam personally too, so this is an extra special interview for me. And yeah, I'm just really excited to talk because, we've been speaking with a lot of leaders and operations managers and recruiters that work primarily with full-time employee office environment, or at least a hybrid. And you're in a really unique position because you're not only fully remote, but you also have freelancers. So freelancers get to work on their own schedules, essentially, right? So
more or less,
more or less. So I'm really excited about talking about some of your best practices around that and kind of how you got into it. So do you want to start there and kind of talk about how you got into specifically the real estate photography business?
Yeah. So, as you know, I mean, I've been doing photography now for about, 17 years, maybe. You and I have worked on a lot of different projects over the years as well, which is not how we met, but we definitely cultivated our relationship from that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think back in 2016, I took the leap to be independent and start, working for myself. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I definitely knew I wanted to be a photographer. So I kind of just shot everything that I possibly could, and figured out what I liked, what I didn't like, everything from concerts to weddings to portraits to, I mean, all sorts of stuff. And
what did you like and what did you not like? No.
I man, that's that's a loaded question, but I would say I disliked weddings the most, and it's not because of the experience of shooting a wedding. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. I think the stress of it is what kind of was a turnoff for me, because it's one of those things where it's like, man, you can't really take your time with it. I mean, certain aspects of it you can, which is nice, but if you miss one shot, like me being me, I'm like such a perfectionist. So I'm always like thinking, I'm like, oh God, man, where did I screw up, or what did I miss, or anything like that.
Yeah,
so
totally.
It wasn't enjoyable, right? I think the process of it, but I always loved capturing people. And I knew that was something that was really special. And to be able to, I think on the upside of it was, to be able to share the photos that I was able to capture and share them with the clients. I mean, and just to see the reaction was just so worth it all, really.
Oh, yeah.
But I decided that, that's something that I didn't really want to focus on. It's not something that I turn away by any means. Like I'll shoot like elopements and smaller kind of, gathering.
Yeah.
But the big 200-300 person weddings, it's just not for me.
Right.
At least as like a solo photographer, I think, I'd be open to doing it if somebody needed a second, or whatnot. But so
I just like my weekend, so that's why I didn't like doing
the and it's fun, it's wild, but you also know me too. Like I love capturing people in as natural type of environment as possible, where things aren't totally posed. I like it when people are just a bit more natural and playful. And so to be able to kind of do more documentary style, for events and for, the work that I do with the trash punks, things like that. are really, kind of my forte, but then, yeah, I got hit up, I don't know, like a year into, um, being on my own, and just kind of dabbling in everything. And by an old friend of mine that I went to high school with. And he was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing real estate photography?" And I was like, "I've thought about it. I don't really know where to start." And he goes, "Listen," he goes, "I'm looking to kind of take a step back. So I'm looking for somebody that I can trust. Why don't you come out and like shadow me on a shoot?" So I did. And it was a cool experience, and he trained me. It took me a few months to really kind of ramp up and get comfortable with it. And I'll always remember my first shoot. It was like with one of his biggest clients, and I totally screwed it up. And it was like so humbling, right? Because I was like, man, like what did I do wrong? And it was like, what did I do right? Was really the question. There were lesser answers for that than there were for the wrong portion. I think I just I just froze, and I think that it was a great learning experience. It was definitely like, hey, I'm going to throw you in the pool. Hopefully you know how to swim. Thankfully I do know how to swim, and that bummed me out at first, but motivated me, later. And as I continued with it and just perfected my craft, um, and thankfully he was a very patient teacher. It just started getting better and better. And I really kind of started falling in love with it. And a question I get a lot is, "Oh, isn't it boring shooting houses all the time?" I'm like, no, every house is different. Every house is unique. They all have a story to tell. They're all special in their own way. And so, the fact that I get to tell that home story, um, through my lens was like really cool and really special. And I don't know, it's fun for me.
Yeah.
Uh, and he decided to close his company down, and so I was fully independent for a few years, and working with some of the clientele that he had that they just enjoyed working with me, and vice versa. And then I started picking up new clients, and I think it was like, at the time I was doing a lot of traveling. I was photographing for a couple different musical artists, kind of traveling the world doing that, which was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
um, and then at the end of 2019, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you should check out my friend's company. Um, I think you'd really vibe with what they're doing." Because I was kind of burning out, right? I was shooting, real estate. I would shoot like 2 to 3 homes in a day, and then I was editing all my own work. So I'd be editing until like, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning most days, and I
Yeah.
was starting to get tired and burnt out. I wasn't enjoying it. I just really wanted to focus on the creative part. And when I met with this company, they were awesome. I mean, I can tell the name, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The company's called Open Homes. And I was really concerned about my brand, right? I really worked hard to kind of develop my own look and my own style. And so I was really apprehensive on joining a company that had their own team of editors. And I had to relinquish that. I had to kind of give
Oh
up my
yeah.
ego a bit. But after speaking with the owner and my predecessor, the gentleman that was in my current role before me, man, I loved it, and I saw the quality of their work, and I was just blown away, totally impressed. And and then the pandemic happened, and I was like, "Oh man, what am I gonna do? Like, this is scary." I just moved into like this new place that I was living, thankfully with a couple friends that kind of made the shutdown a little easier.
Hmm.
But there was a 2 month period where I think I did like 2 photo shoots, and I was like, "This is not going to sustain." Like, I don't know what to do. Do I get a job? I was like, "I don't want a job." And thankfully, open homes, the real estate market just boomed in 2020, and open homes really ramped up. And I was doing a ton of shoots, like a ton of shoots. And the best part about it, there was no traffic. So
Yeah.
to navigate the Bay Area.
You're doing all over the Bay Area,
Oh
right?
yeah, I'd drive like 200 to 300 miles sometimes, in a day, doing 3 homes in a day, and it was just killer, man. It was like, all the way, like from the morning all the way till twilight, and I was just like doing what I loved. And the best part was, I didn't have to edit anymore, and I was okay with that. At first I was like apprehensive, but after like gaining a little bit of trust and letting go of some of my ego, I learned that, man, like, and being encouraged to be an artist. That was the other thing that I really liked about open homes, or like about open homes, is that they encouraged me to be an artist, and they're like, be creative.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there are rules, but also break the rules. And I was like, what? Like, this is so rad. Like, I don't have to shoot from all four corners. I can do other cool stuff like vignettes and details and, 1 point perspectives and all these different things. And they encouraged it. And, I think in that first year I was with open homes, I was still an independent contractor. Um, it was amazing because there was so much care, and there was a really great company culture. Like, they really wanted you to grow and really nurtured that process and gave great feedback. And you
Yeah.
know and I think in that 1 year, that I was an independent contractor for them in 2020, like, I became such a better photographer, and my eye just really developed, and um just gained a ton of confidence in what I was doing. And towards the end of the year, we talked about me, coming over and being a full-time employee, and we had a few conversations around it, and it sounded like a great opportunity. And so, yeah, for almost 3 years now, I've been their creative services manager, and like
Hmm.
you mentioned, I manage a team of over 60 real estate media creators, so
Hmm.
photographers, videographers, drone operators, Matterport operators, the whole nine. We kind of do the
Hmm.
floor plan drafters. And so I manage this really incredible team of probably some of the most talented people, that I've had the pleasure of working with and leading. Um, yeah, and I think being on this side of the coin has been really interesting, because there's definitely challenges managing a team, as you know. I've managed many teams in my career, anywhere from retail coffee to tech, into now, working with and leading a team of creatives who, honestly inspire me every day. Um, and I'm just like so blown away by the content that they create. It's like mind blowing sometimes. And so, yeah, I think, and again, it's made me a better photographer just looking at hundreds and thousands of images a day, a month, a year. I mean, it's
Right.
incredible, and constantly giving feedback, and really working to develop my team. And it's been a pretty special experience, and again, it's like I kind of, I feel like my eye, which I felt was like pretty refined, is even like, it's like razor sharp now, and it's pretty incredible. It's pretty rad. And yeah, it's encouraging as well. um but yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, leading teams, leading, large teams, it has its challenges. And I think, I've never led a team of independent contractors before, and that's like a whole new thing for me. Where, working for, like, in retail coffee, there's it's very structured. It's very, these are employees, right? So
Yeah.
they adhere to the company policies and this, that, and the other. And
Right.
I would say it's not too far off, with working with independent contractors, because essentially they're representing our company whenever they're on site. And so, I think the first year for me, the big focus was just connecting with my team and really working on, partnership, and not just with us as a company, but also with all of our clients. And
Mhm.
uh, and that was a really big one. That was a huge push, right? It was really about partnership and developing great conversations, and really working hard to, um, you know, build that confidence to be able to collaborate, right? More collaboration with our clients versus just showing up and taking a bunch of photos. We really put a large emphasis on kind of customer service in a way, if you think about it, uh,
Mhm.
which is, something I have a ton of experience in. So that aspect of it, I feel like was pretty easy, pretty natural for me. But of course, again, it has its challenges when you're working remote. You're not always out in the field. You're having a lot of conversations over Zoom or Google Meet. Um, you're trying to do feedback sessions. And I think the big learning, is more impact happens when we're able to be face to face.
Well, okay, you've touched on so many things and I'm
So
really
many things. I
excited.
know. I'm sorry. I kind of
Good.
rambled.
I'm like, you're literally like, okay, I'm like, question, these are my questions. Okay. So because there's so much I want to dig into.
Yeah.
Now, let's start with like onboarding. With a freelance remote staff that you're sending out into the field to represent your company. I'm sure you've got to have some great, solid, rock solid onboarding strategies. Can
Mm.
you talk about that process and maybe even starting with like the
Recruiting.
recruiting? Yeah,
Yeah.
like how do you
Yeah.
find people? How do they find you? And then how do you vet them? And then how do you bring them on? I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah. So, this process is ever evolving.
Hmm.
I think it's a process that we've really been fine tuning. We have very high expectations for all of our photographers. We call them visual artists, all of our VAs. We have very high expectations when we're looking. We have a very discerning eye. We're not just looking for, one of the things obviously quality of work, right?
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily, we don't solely just look at people who shoot real estate, right? I mean, we've brought so many photographers on that have been, food photographers or lifestyle portrait photographers or environmental portrait, photographers or car photographers. It's just
Hmm.
if they have the mechanics, we can train anybody. It's a very different, I think there's a myth or like a thought that real estate photography is easy. It's extremely not. It's very hard. There's many nuances with it. And so, you know, in looking at their work, I always think about, what is the competency of this creative, right? Would they be able to handle, working quickly, working through a home, understand the flow? And so a lot of the conversations we talk about that. And the other thing I think about is culture. And culture to me is bigger than experience. You can't really train somebody to be a good person, but you can train somebody how to do the job, right?
Okay.
And I've kind of led with that for most of my career in management. Anytime I'm hiring anybody, whether it was in coffee or in tech, I really thought about culture first. And it's like, man, if I can work with this person and I know this person can work well with my team, because my team is not just the 60 VAs, it's
Yeah.
also the customer experience team, it's the marketing team, it's the other side of it as well. And so I'm
Hmm.
collaborating with both sides every day. And so I think about that whenever I'm having a conversation with somebody. And I think the big thing is, man, if I feel comfortable talking to somebody and me, I can get along with pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
Um, but when I'm thinking about, on the professional end of it, if there's one thing, like I would always say, trust your gut. If your gut is telling you no, don't move forward. And and there's been times where I've gone beyond my gut, and it's come back to shoot me in the foot. And so lessons learned, which has been great. But being remote, our interview process looks like this, which I think is good. But there's nothing like actually like meeting the person in person and getting a really good handle for who they are face to face. And so, without giving too much of our process up, which I know that the company likes to keep certain things pretty tight to the hip, but essentially, if we like where they're at, we'll invite them to shadow, most likely me, on site, where they'll actually like follow me around while I'm doing a photo shoot, so
Okay.
we can get a good idea of their experience, based a lot based off their questions.
Hmm.
uh, and they have an opportunity to ask questions in real time, which I think is really huge, and get a better understanding of what our process is.
Yeah.
And I think that those two meetings right there are like tell-alls, right? And again, I'm not just thinking about their ability. I'm thinking about, I have to work with this person every day, and am I going to be able to work with this person every day? And
Hmm.
so I think a lot about that in my process. And again, you can train anybody to do the job, but you just can't train somebody to be a good person.
Yeah.
And there's some very talented people out there that have really horrible attitudes, and
Sure.
it's such a bummer, right? Because you're
Yeah.
just, man, like you're killing your chances to be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I think of it. Whether I'm right or wrong is irrelevant. I think there's just facts, right? Because you understand working with clients, a lot of the times it's not just about the output, right? It's about the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's kind of like the foundation, I think, of how we source and then hire,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course, we if we choose to move forward, um, we ask for some samples, and we want to essentially then onboard them.
Okay.
And we have our own process, which I'm not, it's kind of boring, so I'm not going to get fully into, but yeah, we go through a lot of our policies and rules and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, the goal is, I think this last year, I've been spending more time out in the field, but the goal is to kind of spend time with them on their first shoot, make sure that they feel supported, and make sure that they're set up for success. So that way, moving forward, they understand the process, they understand, our expectations, and they're feeling like good, moving forward. And so
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think by doing that, it really like sets our team up for success,
Mm-hmm.
both on the uh, you know on the customer experience side, our scheduling team, as well as on their side as well, while they're out with the clients and whatnot. So
Excellent.
again, my ramble made sense.
No, 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 totally. So let's talk about feedback, because feedback is really important, obviously. So you put them out in the field, and what is the expectation, I guess, of like how frequent um they work, and also how do you handle feedback?
Yeah, so great questions. So a lot of it obviously is dependent on the market,
Mm-hmm.
especially having a large team. So a lot of things, we look at is availability, and, the range in which they're, able to travel to, for jobs. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and then again, just various core competencies that we expect. Um, and, the availability is a huge one, right? If they're only able to work twice, 2 days a week, they're probably not going to get as much work as if they're available for like a full week.
Mm-hmm.
But in regards to feedback, I think we're pretty like on top of it. We try to be, whenever there's like a miss somewhere, even if it's just like one shot, it's like, ooh, like let's sit down, let's talk about this shot. And so I try to keep feedback really open with my team.
Mm-hmm.
With new VAs that we bring on, I definitely you know, we definitely try to have as much feedback on their first few shoots as possible, just to help refine. But a lot of the times, like I said, I'm trying to get more out in the field and actually spend time with them at shoots, so we can like correct in real time, kind of talk
Yeah.
about why. I think why is the biggest question, the best question to ask. Like, why would you do it this way? Uh,
Mm.
why would you compose a shot like this? What are you looking for in a shot? um, what does that composition look like? Is it balanced? Is it off? Is it too wide? Can you step back further and zoom in a little bit more to kind of create a really nice compression and a really nice, more kind of lifestyle or magazine-esque type shot? So those are a lot of the conversations we have, but I mean, I have a great, partner in quality control, and
Mm-hmm.
I speak often, and we go through images, and he writes beautiful notes, and that allows me to have better feedback, more meaningful feedback with my team as well.
And so when you're delivering feedback, when you're not on site with them, or
Yeah.
is it usually in a meeting like this, or is it in an email, or both?
Yeah, it's typically like in a meeting like this,
Okay.
it'll typically start, we have various communication tools. So our internal tool, it'll start there, say, hey, let's talk about this, let's set up some time to chat.
Mhm.
So that way, kind of work around their schedule, but I try to nip it in the bud as quickly as possible. If you let too much time go by, you may have some missed opportunities.
Mhm.
So, if there was a shoot the day before, and and I have an opportunity to speak with them the next day about, this, that, or the other,
Mhm.
uh, then that's probably the most ideal. But I try to like at least connect with them within that same week, within a few days, really. Uh,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's usually over, a meeting like this. And then, I'm able to share my screen and talk about, the various, corrections or, but it also praise as well. And if they just have a killer shot, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
keep doing this.
Right. That's awesome. So how do you support or encourage a healthy work-life balance? Do you come across that issue with the freelancers?
Not so much. I think, if one of our photographers is feeling burnt out or just tired, I always encourage them, man, take a day for yourself. Like block off your schedule, someday this week and just take a day for yourself. Luckily the majority of our team, they want to work. They're hungry. They don't
They're
mind doing
hungry.
multiple
Yeah,
shifts.
every job is
Yeah,
more
is an
money.
opportunity, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it happens like our busier time of the season. It'll happen every once in a while where it's like someone's like, all right, I'm making myself available during the week and on the weekends, and I'm burnt
Yeah.
out, So, but yeah, we keep it pretty transparent, and if they're ever feeling like, man, I need a day, we
Yeah.
just say, hey, block off your schedule and, for the day that you need, and just, we'll reschedule your work.
Right.
I think that, that's part of the culture, which is great, and I would say out of most companies that I've worked with, this company has an incredible culture.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me flip that around to you then, since you're their manager and you're dealing with
Yeah.
all different schedules at their, and I, like I said, I don't know how many limitations they have in their schedules or if they're supposed to work within certain hours, but how do you, um, how do you handle work-life balance? Because I'm sure there's a lot of demand at all different types of hours and
Yeah. I'm getting better at it. I think
yeah.
that's been one of the things that I've struggled with, I think, my entire career. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I am like down for the cause. I have no problem working super long days if I need to, if it's gonna
Hmm.
like, help the greater good. But sometimes I know that I need to like pump the brakes a little bit. And I think as I'm getting older, I get tired quicker. I don't have quite the energy that I did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, but I try to give myself, like when I'm here, when I'm, at work, I really try to give myself the benefit of like just hustling through my day as much as possible, and try to like enjoy my weekends as much as I can. I do, shoot for my own clients on my own time.
Right. That's right. You balance that.
That and
Adam
sometimes,
Brioza
yeah,
photography.
exactly. And sometimes
Yeah.
that's hard because, I want to give my company the respect during the week. Obviously, I'm not going to work. I'm only going to focus my time with them during the
Yeah.
week. And then on the weekends, that's my time. So I will go out and I'll photograph for some of my own clients. It's a lot of portrait work,
Yeah.
primarily. Some events,
I know I've been your client a few
you
times.
have, yes, many times. And it's nice. It's nice to switch it up a little bit. And for
Yeah.
me, it gives me an opportunity to connect with people. I think one of the big, the working remote like this full time is it's like new for me. Outside of being my own boss. But when you're a freelancer, it's different. When you're sitting behind a desk most of the day, that comes with its own challenges.
Sure.
Maybe this is moving us into a different part of the conversation, but man, some days
Go
are
for it.
great and I love being at home, and some
Yeah.
days like losing my mind and I'm like, get me out of here.
Right.
I need to find like a cafe or something to work out of that's not my
Yeah.
house. And I
Amen
need a
to
break
that.
from my house, and I want my house to be a place of relaxation, not a source of stress or anything like that. So I have my own little work station in my apartment. Um, and I stay away from it when I'm not working. you
Yeah.
know, I
Good
have
for
spots
you.
in my house that I can just enjoy. I've got my
Mhm.
kitchen and my little living room space behind me,
Yeah.
and I can lock myself away in that little world and stay away from my little
Good.
work nook.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been an
Turn the
interesting.
monitor off so there's no temptations,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But it's been an interesting experience, all of my meetings are, over like a Zoom, or Google Meet. So, and for me, being somebody who's so personable, I love being around people.
Yeah.
It has its challenges sometimes. And so I will encourage, hey, I'm going to be up in the city and I know, we all work remote. So, but if I'm in a place where I can connect with one of my coworkers, then I will, and just be like, hey, I'm going to be in your area. Let's go get lunch. Um, Even with my boss actually lives relatively close to me, the owner of the company. And every
Mhm.
once in a while we'll meet up and have lunch, which is really nice.
Yeah.
It kind of breaks up the monotony of being here at my desk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an interesting experience. You really have to be very self-motivated.
Yeah.
Um, you don't have that dynamic in an office where, you have somebody like breathing over your shoulder, or peering over your shoulder. I think your success is really in your hands, and you have to really be like motivated and self-sustained. And
Mhm.
there's days that are it's challenging, and then there's days that are like, a breeze. So and I think for me, like in the slower season, it gets a bit more challenging, just because I'm like not as motivated. We don't have as much kind of chaos happening,
Yeah.
or as much movement happening. So it's kind of interesting. It was, but this time of year is nice because it allows me to get other projects done, which is
Mhm.
good.
Nice.
That I'd
So,
started.
oh, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I didn't want to cut you off. So like okay, so I a couple weeks ago got to meet some of your people and
Yes.
at the workshop that you hosted. And that was super awesome. And I did get a sense of, I don't know how well everyone knew each other, but I did get a sense of like unity, camaraderie. How often do you guys do those in-person events or things where basically they can knowledge share, meet each other, know who their
Yeah.
team is? Do they have a lot of opportunities? Do they work with each other ever? I'd love to talk
Yeah.
about employee
So
engagement and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I guess before my time at this company, they would meet, I think, monthly, and do workshops or get-togethers, And then, of course, with the pandemic, that was really, we couldn't.
Yeah.
So, we moved over to weekly workshops just over like Google Meet, So, whoever wanted to attend would come and we'd talk about industry stuff or like new gear or whatever,
Yeah.
anything that's industry specific. And that was cool to be able to, I always was really impressed about that. I think that the fact that going back to the culture piece, this company has done a great job at really like unifying the team. And the fact that like everybody really wants everybody to be successful, because I mean, it's a reflection, I think, on the overall experience and team and quality and everything, to our clients as well. And so if everybody's helping everybody level up, it's only going to get better from there, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so in my time here, we've managed to continue doing the workshops, the weekly workshops, and sometimes they're bi-weekly or monthly. And then the in-person workshops, we've done a few now. But after this last workshop that you were at, thank you, by the way, that was awesome.
That's fun.
uh it was we've talked about, maybe ramping it back up again and doing monthly in-person workshops,
Yeah.
because yeah, there's a total camaraderie. The fact that you felt that, it's just because there is, everybody's super tight knit. Everybody's like really just wants everybody to like, everybody's just cool with each other.
Yeah.
We have two parties a year, where everybody can come and converge and, whatever, eat pizza, be merry. And it's totally fun whenever we're able to do those get-togethers. And so I think, by re-implementing, more in-person workshops,
Yeah.
it's just gonna like improve our team, but then also just like, I think just improve the morale overall as well, which is,
Definitely.
super important. Uh,
Being a freelancer or solopreneur can get lonely. So
it gets
it's
very
nice to know you
lonely.
have people.
Yeah, and yeah,
I know.
I mean, after being solo for so many years, and then all of a sudden joining this community, I was like, whoa, what? Like, this is crazy. It's like people sharing ideas. This is amazing. And,
Yeah.
and I hate to say it, but there's a lot of photographers that keep things very close to their hip and they don't divulge their secret sauce at all. And, or they don't want to be bothered or, and I hate that. I really, really hate that because it's like, man, we're all here, we're doing it. And if you think this person is your competition, then you're in the wrong thought process.
Yeah.
You should be like unifying, across the board, and we should all be helping each other out. We should all be working together to,
Mhm.
um, to like to level each other up, to support each other. In my experience as a creative, and I've been a creative most of my life, whether it be in music or even acting. I don't know if you knew that of me.
No, I know
At
your
an
voice
early
acting,
age,
but
oh, I was
not.
really into it, man. I loved it. I was in plays and
I mean,
music
I'm not
videos,
surprised.
all sorts of stuff. But then doing voiceover, as you know.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're always keeping everything that you have like away from everybody else,
Hmm.
you're like doing the world a disservice, right? In my opinion, I feel like you're doing the world a disservice because you're literally limiting people from seeing something beautiful or experiencing something amazing
Yeah.
by kind of keeping everything like closed and tight. And honestly, it'll make you sick, if you do that. So um to come full circle here, um, you know, joining a company where there was such a tight community was like a shock. And it was like I was so stoked, and I still am, and I love it. And but yeah, I think back to the workshop part. Sorry, I kind of go off
No,
on
you're good. This is great.
that. I think the workshops are imperative to success.
Yeah.
I think just getting people in the same room together is so important. And I think it just builds greater community, but also, it helps us level up the products even more, and as you know, that was kind of the purpose of this workshop. And the amount of like, uh, communication and ideas and everything that have come from that have been incredible.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. So you talk a lot about the culture being awesome. How do you, with a team again, who's not in an office together all day, how do you instill your core values or the mission of open homes
Mm.
with your people?
I think it's just within every conversation, and I think bringing, like, attaching what we're talking about to the mission and the core values is extremely important.
Hmm.
If I'm just talking at you, you're not going to listen, you're not going to care.
Hmm.
But if I attach it, the reason why we're having this conversation to this element or these elements, it's going to make them more meaningful. And I think that, you know, even if the conversation is hard, sometimes they just have to happen, and they're not always easy. Trust me, I that's something that I've always struggled with, is having those hard conversations because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. But
Right.
at the same token, I would rather have somebody be upfront and honest with me than beat around the bush and not tell me the problem, because then I'm never going to grow, and I'm never going to understand or know. And so sometimes conversations are hard, but again, if it's coming from the right place and if it's attaching to the right thing, I think that that person or those people are going to have more respect, uh,
Hmm.
and more understanding. And at the end of the day, it's not about hurting your feelings or reprimand if those conversations end up being hard, but it's more about, man, I respect you for who you are and what you do. And I need you to respect me for what, we do and who we are. And so we need to like tie those two things together if this is going to work. And, I think at the end of the day, everybody gets that. And, and again, if everything's coming from our mission, our vision, our values, you can't really go wrong.
Hmm. That segues really nicely into building trust. So, is there any techniques, conversations, strategies you use to build trust with your staff and also Because I mean, you're putting, again, they're going out and representing, your company. So they also have to feel trusted, right? Like
Of course, yeah, yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I think, again, just being open and honest,
Yeah.
from the get-go, and really being clear with your intention, but also just connecting with them, and I think when I first started in this role, I was nervous, because these people are so incredibly talented. Um, and I think I'm talented to a certain respect, but man, like it's intimidating talking to some of these people who are just produce mind-blowing, creative things. I'm like, wow, and I think in the beginning it was more about relating, to them and letting them know like, hey, I do know what I'm talking about, and I have this experience, so not like showboating per se, but like letting them know it's like, hey man, I'm a pro as well, and you're just getting to know me and I'm just getting to know you, and I respect what you do, and this is the relationship that we're going to have. And I think setting that from the beginning and just being really open and honest, and but also too allowing them a safe place to have conversations, and giving them the opportunity to speak on things when they may be struggling or frustrated or whatnot as well.
Hmm.
Because there's no perfect day, right? Sometimes things happen. Sometimes conversations happen. Sometimes frustrations happen. And at the end of the day, they need to know that they have a safe and open space to be able to be, candid, and to be able to say what they need as well. So
That's great. Um, wow, this has just been really awesome. I feel like I covered most of my questions, but this
awesome.
conversation has just been great. One fun question though that I've been throwing in there just because I've
Yeah.
been getting some fun answers is, what was your first job ever?
Oh man, Domino's Pizza.
Domino's Pizza.
Well, I was a paper boy when I was young. So
Oh,
7 years old, I was like,
old-fashioned paper
because
boy.
it's the 80s, right? And so there's no
Yeah.
rules in the 80s. And
Did
so
you ride a bike and
oh
throw
yeah. So,
papers?
7 years old, and waking up at like 4 in the morning and like rolling newspapers and throwing them in your like little
Good,
newspaper sack on
good
your hand,
work ethic.
and you're hauling ass around your neighborhood, just throwing papers and stuff. That was my first real job. I guess my first real job. Yeah, I turned 14 and was like, they're like, all right, hey, happy birthday, go get a job.
Get a worker's permit.
Yeah, I had to get my work permit from
Yeah.
school,
Yep.
and I was a freshman, and so I'd go to school during the day and work for like 3 hours, after school, and then go home and do my homework and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was funny, like it was rad because I love pizza, and so I was able to like sometimes take a
Free
pizza
pizzas.
killer, man. And, like if somebody didn't like pick up their pizza,
Right.
and we just be able to like take it, and it was killer. It was fun, it was
Totally.
challenging for that for my age, and
Yeah.
be on the phone a lot taking orders. But my favorite is when I got to start making pizzas, and I was like, yeah, this
Did
is
you
great.
deliver too, or were you
I
always
never delivered. No, I
never
just made
delivered?
them. Yeah. But my favorite was like
You
when
know how to
friends,
toss the,
oh yeah,
the
yeah.
dough?
Throw the dough and how to do all of that. Yeah, it was killer. It was so much fun. So I'd be on the line making pizzas.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. My favorite though was when my friends or like people that I went to school with would order, and I'd be like, I know that person.
Yeah.
You always had to make it that much better, and
Totally.
it was so cool. It was fun,
Love
and
it.
uh,
That's great.
I don't know if I learned anything from that job, but it was
I'm
definitely.
sure.
I'm sure I did.
I'm
Yeah,
sure you dig deep. There's definitely you
I'm
learn.
sure
I
it
think
like yeah, it shaped something, but I was kind of like a wild kid too. I was like a wild like little teenager boy. So it was like my money funded other things,
yeah.
that probably not good.
Hey,
But
at least you were paying for it.
I was paying for it, man. This was like what, 1990,
Yeah.
So it was a very different time. But I was paying for it, so it was good.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. Is there anything else you feel you'd want to talk about? I mean, I know we went over a lot of stuff. So if there's anything else,
And nothing I can think of,
okay,
I mean, I tend to like go off in tangents,
it's
so
great. You're on
Yeah,
a podcast. That's what,
yeah. This is my first one, by the way. This is
yeah.
my first time. Yeah,
Maybe we're
this
going to
is super
start
exciting.
something. I'm
Yeah,
having so much fun doing this. I
this
mean,
is awesome. I'm so glad you're doing this. This is like,
yeah,
I feel like it's so up your alley.
yeah,
Uh, and I think it's really interesting too. I've watched your podcast as they've been coming out. And, yeah, it's really interesting to kind of see everybody's different perspectives and experiences. And but I mean, this is cool for you as
it's
well because I
cool. And honestly, I've gotten to speak with a lot of friends, who are amazing professionals that I
right,
know, but
yeah,
it's like getting to know you guys at a different, deeper level.
right.
And you guys are all really smart, talented people. And that's been really, really cool, really eye-opening, like getting to see your friends from a different lens,
That has to be cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's really cool. It's
it was like such an honor to be asked. So
oh,
I really appreciate you asking me. I know you and I have done a lot of really cool creative things over the years, and
yeah.
I look forward to doing more with you as well. But this is like, yeah, I think it's like a great natural progression for you.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for being a guest. And
We'll have
that's
to
it.
do it again.
That's a wrap. We'll do it again. Yeah.